Today's video, we go over everything I've done on my C4 Corvette now that it's hit over 300,000 miles. Hello and welcome to ET Garage. My name's Eugene Tordo, and like I said, my C4 Corvette 1990 is now over 300,000 miles, and I'm going to go over everything that I've done over the years and the history of it. So let's go look at the odometer. Hopefully you guys can see that. And 300,322. So that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, a lot of the... I originally bought this car as a basket case. It had 163,000 miles on it. And didn't look anything like it did now. Headlights, of course, were stuck in the up position. The AC didn't work. It had the original factory gray seats in it with cigarette burns and a bunch of funky wiring going on for the stereo system. The carpet, basically underneath the seats and on the floor where you put your feet, these gray carpets were pretty much all black, and the rest of it didn't look so good either. Other than that, it was drivable, though. Yeah, you can hop in it and drive it. The tires that were on it were square as hell, so, of course, one of the first things I did was change them. And the wheels were pretty beat up. I don't know if I have a picture of them anymore, but I refinished them, made them look pretty decent. They're gone now. The wheels I have on it now are OE wheels. They are the factory size, 17-inch wheels by 9 or 9.5, I forgot, but they're the exact same size as the factory OEM wheels. Let me see. Other than polishing it up, as far as the body work, the only thing I've done is like in the front here, in the front clip. This was all wavy. And what I did is I took this whole front clip off and put some aluminum plate underneath there with some liquid nails to hold it in place, and that straightened it out and nice, hard, and straight. And then, of course, I covered it with the eBay carbon fiber vinyl wrap, along with the license plate delete cover there. And the targa top. I have videos on recovering that. I'm pretty sure I have a video somewhere on covering that license plate filler, and I have several videos on the targa top, including vinyl wrapping them and a custom headliner. Originally just came with the clear one, which this one actually is. And then later on, the clear one was pretty beat up, and I tried several times to refinish it, and sometimes successful and not too successful. And I ended up picking up a solid top. That top I did a bunch of videos on. I had to reconnect the fiberglass top to the frame. It was starting to delaminate, so I had a whole series of videos on that. And that was vinyl wrapped also, because originally it was bright yellow, the top that I picked up off of Facebook, the solid one. But I decided, instead of relensing this or getting a new one, the clear one, I decided to, had a small tiny crack just starting to appear. I decided to repair that, and like I said, cover it with the vinyl wrap and custom headliner. Take a look at the headliner in case you haven't seen it. Hopefully you guys should see that pretty good. But I never did a video on the seats. I wasn't really doing YouTube videos at the time, but those I got off of eBay years ago, and they've been holding up great. Really good. I did a video, a playlist on the carpeting. I redid the carpeting, tore it all out, redid the floors, and put sound deadening in, all that stuff. Weather strip I've done a couple of videos on. It's actually getting to do weather strip again. And this is Corvette rubber weather strip, but I have a lot of years and miles on it, and it's getting due for another time to replace it. So let's look under the hood. Pretty sure I did a video on replacing the hood cables. The original motor, I ran that until about, I got 189,000 miles on it. And truth be told, I probably could have pulled that motor and just replaced all the gaskets and seals and the valve guide seals. Threw it in. It probably would have got a couple more miles out of it. Probably would have got over 200,000 miles at it, but the rings and cylinders were definitely worn. So how long they would have held up, I don't know. I took that out. Originally, I built a 383, and that lasted about 54,000 miles, and then I had a detonation event. I got some cheap gas, and it broke two upper rings in the number 3 and 5 cylinder. So I ended up taking it out, boring at 40 over. It's now 385. It did several iterations of that. I can't even remember which ones. Right now it's 385 with forged internally balanced crank and eagle crank and eagle rods and hypertectic pistons. Nothing fancy. Running about 10.29 compression with trick flow heads. Originally, on the original build, I had the factory heads rebuilt. I ported them myself and I had them rebuilt. Did a video on the flow numbers on that. It was flowing around 225 on the intake with mild porting. I do have AS&M large tube runners. I have a Summit cam. I believe it's a stage 2 one. About just a little over 500 lift and around 218, 220 duration or something like that. So I'm real happy with that combination as far as driving on the street. I did try another intake on this. I have a bunch of videos on that. I got the Chinese version of the Edelbach ProFlow XT and had that on here for a little bit. And really, to take advantage of that intake, I need to go to a bigger cam. But that worked well. It just, some of the machining, like on a China wall and where the distributor wasn't up to snuff, and it would leak oil there. Could have fixed that, and I still might do something with that intake. I still have it. Some videos on the headers, like refinishing them. And those are, let me see, those are hooker headers. Yeah. Originally, they had the smog pipes on them and stuff. I ended up taking that off. A lot of people say, why don't I delete the smog pump? That, as far as I'm concerned, it is deleted because I gutted the inside of it. So basically, it's just a pulley support. I do have an OBX exhaust on this. I did several videos on that too somewhere. And stainless steel X pipe from the headers back. And let's go take a look back here. Hopefully you guys can see these. Let me get a light. Yeah, give you an idea what those look like. You can see I have a homemade restrictor in there. I call that a drone eliminator. Got them in each muffler. It helps cut down on the drone. I also fabricated like an H box underneath there, right about where the differential is under there, and that between that and that, it helps cut back on the drone. Lots of other things I've done, like the upper and lower control arm bushings. Those are Global West and Del A-Lum bushings or Delron bushings. I prefer them over the polyurethane. I had polyurethane on there, and those polyurethane bushings, when I took them off, probably had about 75,000 miles on them. They still look great. Shocks are Ride-Tex. They are adjustable for rebound only, front and rear. I think I did a video on them. I had to return them because they have that 1,000,000-mile warranty, and one on this side blew out, and the others were losing gas. They're nitrogen charged. They were great on the warranty. You know, you just send them back. You do have to pay shipping, but hey, they sent me another brand new set of shocks. No questions asked. As long as you return the old ones and they pass their inspection, you know, like they weren't physically damaged, someone didn't like bend them or beat on them with a hammer. The rear, I think I did a video on the bushings on the rear, but the rear I have polyurethane bushings, and then I also have what they call smart struts and Doug Rippey Motorsport camber brackets. I've had videos on them. I have a bunch of videos on data logging and tuning, so I have a whole playlist on that if you want to learn about that. All the brake lines, not the hoses. All the hoses are stainless steel. Are the stainless steel hose lines, but all the hard lines I replaced with stainless steel brake lines from pre-bent from trying to remember the name of the company, but anyway, I did videos on them, and I replaced them with stainless steel. I replaced the forward fuel lines with pre-bent stainless steel, and the same with the transmission lines. They're all stainless steel. I'd like to do the fuel lines from the fuel filter back to the gas tank, but according to my research, it requires removing this body panel, well, removing, of course, the rear clip, the rear body panel, and I think I read dropping the gas tank. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm pretty sure I could just remove the rear fascia or clip, whatever you want to call it, and maybe drop the gas tank and do it that way if I had to do it. Let me think. So much stuff that I've done to this over the years. Oh, did video on the AC, including replacing the evaporator and removing this blower box. And let me see. Oh, I have underdrive pulleys. Did a video on that. Not sure what other videos I've done. Oh, let me see. Also, I don't know if I did videos on the sway bars, but I'm going to be taking these sway bars off and refinish them. I'm probably going to wait till winter and see how beat up they are. Those are solid. The front one is a solid 32 millimeter. And the rear is a solid 26 millimeter. Factory would have been a solid 24 in the rear and a solid 28, no, a hollow 28 millimeter in the front. I'm thinking of getting rid of that sway bar and getting a hollow 32 millimeter. Unfortunately, it's really expensive. The reason I want to do that is just to take some weight off the front end. That bar is heavy. Yeah, I mean real heavy, especially compared to the factory one. And it's forward of the front axle. So you're basically putting weight overhang on your suspension. And as far as handling goes, you always want to keep the weight between the front axle and the rear axle for handling. Did a bunch of videos, I think, on the PVC system. Like, for instance, that right there is a dual flow adjustable PVC valve. I do have an air oil separator. A lot of people like to refer to them as a catch can. I consider a catch can and an air oil separator two separate things, but this one here is homemade. I did some videos on that. And trying to think, oh, I did videos on these wire loom brackets. Originally they were real long and didn't fit, so I had to cut them down, modify them, and I'm happy with them the way they are now. Trying to think, there's so many things. Oh, I painted the underside of the hood, so I think I did videos on that. Oh, the brakes, can't forget the brakes. Wildwood, the full Wildwood setup, 6-piston calibers, and the 2-piece rotors. The center hub section of these rotors, the hats, they are aluminum, and the calibers themselves are a lot thicker than the factory and a lot more vanes in them. So they're actually, even though this hat is aluminum in the center, these are actually heavier than the factory 12-inch, because that's what I had here. I just had the base model 12-inch brake rotors on here. So the calibers are a lot lighter, but the rotors are actually heavier, and when you add up all the weight, they come up to the same. Of course, you have a little bit more rotating mass. Factory, or the factory brakes in the back, I have the factory calibers. Hopefully you can see that. But I do have the 2-piece Wildwood rotors, and these are OEM replacements for the factory rotors. They come with their own pads, and they are lighter than the factory. So if I would have got just OEM replacement ones front and rear, that would have probably been a big improvement as far as rotating mass, at least removed a little. Now you can see they're rusty. I do drive in all sorts of weather. If I would have got the drilled and slotted ones, they come black E-coated. The slotted ones do not. And I used to do track days, and if you're going to do track days or anything where you're going to be using a lot of brakes, you're better off with the slotted than you are the drilled and slotted. Unfortunately, the slotted ones don't come black E-coated, so maybe I'll take them off and remove that rust and see if I can put some type of finish on them myself. Trying to think anything else that I've done. There's so many different things I've done. I did run a CD box once. I did a video on that. You know, one of those multiple spark discharge boxes. It was a marine grade one, and the reason I got a marine grade one is because I had it mounted down there. There's a video on that. And oh, heat shields. Recently I did a heat shield video not too long ago. You should be able to see that down there. I'm going to probably do more on that, because so far that's the only thing I've done. I want to make a heat shield for the starter, and probably a couple other places too, and that's because I got all this eBay heat shield material. I guess that's about it. Hopefully one day I'll do a video on removing this rubber gasket here and refinishing all this area here. This is really important, this gasket. It keeps water from coming down, like onto your washer motor and onto your distributor. And you can see, I don't know if you can see right there, that needs to be resealed. And I do drive in all sorts of weather, so do want it waterproof. I think I did a video on fixing the cruise control, and I might have done videos, other videos on like in the climate control and stuff. I actually can't remember. I have over 700 videos. But yeah, things like these regular maintenance, like the hub bearing assemblies have been replaced. I'm pretty sure I've done videos on that. I can't remember. Like I said, I've done so many videos I can't remember. But anyway, that's all I got going on right now. Hopefully I'll have some more interesting stuff in the future. But that's my 300,000 mile update on my 1990 C4 Corvette. Hope you learned something from it. Any questions, ask down in the comment section, and give a thumbs up and all that good stuff. Helps support the channel. So in the meantime, everybody have a great day, and God bless.